Okay, as a revision, the first thing that I want to show you is how to speed up the data, split the data, meaning because we need to use it again in the problem setup material. So I want to show it to you again. Highlight the data you want to speed, and then data text to column. No, sorry. Just select the data, not the column names. And then text to column. And then delimited, separated by a space. And then finished. For those of you who have done the homework, you should know how to do it, right? This is the hour. And this is the minutes. And the total duration is equal to F2 times 60 plus the minutes. And the trick I teach you last time is to use the name box. Select H2 up to H1, 4H2 using the name box. And then press Ctrl D. All the data, I mean all the formula you get populated. Okay, this is the quick recap of what we did last week. Okay, and last week I show you actually in the problem set number 1 there is a question asks you to calculate the statistics by color of the running, right? So last week I teach you to sort the data by the color and then calculate the statistics for each category of the data. But this week I want to show you a faster way. The method is to use the pivot table here, which is also on the data tape. No, not this. Hide it. Okay, what you need to do is to highlight the data. Actually, you can use the name box. A1 up to H4A2. And then highlight all the data. And then data, pivot table, create menu pivot table. Okay, I show it to you again. A1 up to H4H2. Select all the data first. And then pivot table, create menu pivot table. And just choose the default setting. You can try those settings by yourself, but in our case, I just want to use the default setting. And then press OK. Now, a pivot table builder will pop up. Okay, and what you can do is to drag. For example, you want to separate the data by color. For example, just drag the color into the row label. You can drag it to the column as well, but for the simplicity, let's do it on the row label. And then drag the total duration into the values, which is very small. So let's do it yourself first. And then there is okay, now the numbers on the pivot table is actually the sum value of for each category of data of warning. But you can change it to something else. For example, the average, by clicking the I here and then change it to average and then press OK. You will get the average. And you can drag more into it. For example, you want to calculate the maximum and the minimum. And also, let's say, the count. For example, how many amber warning, how many black warning, how many red warning, and things like that. You have missed the best part. Okay, watch the YouTube tonight. Let's zoom in. And then you get a pivot table that calculates those specific statistics based on the color. Okay. Let me show it to you in extreme slow-mo because this one is very important. You cannot do it by you cannot do the problem set number 2 by the sorting method. You need to use the pivot table. Okay, and let me show it to you again. How to do it. Okay, select all the data. Okay, and then data, tape, and then pivot table, select manual, and then use the default setting. And then a pivot table builder will pop up, okay? And for example, you want to calculate the statistics for each category of color warning, okay? So you drag the color into the row label so that your data will be separated by a different color. You can drag it into the column as well if you like. Okay, let's say this time I drag it into column and let's see what will happen. And then drag the data you want to calculate the statistics. For example, in our case, we want to calculate the statistics, like the average duration, like in your problem set number 1. And then we drag it into the values. By default, it will calculate the sum of the total duration, which it may not be what you want. So in order to customize it, there is a little button here which have the I, and then calculate the average. For example, you want to calculate the average, then you select average. Okay. And you can drag more drag the data for multiple times into the values, and then you can calculate like the maximum, and then minimum, and maybe the standard deviation. And then you get the statistics for different kinds. Set the data categorized by a different kind of colors. So I give you 10 minutes, and you try to do it yourself. And then we will move on a little bit on plotting. Make sure that you know how to use the pivot table. If you have questions, let me know. But he's not using it. She's not using it. She's different.
How do we separate the arms and
I know. I read Chinese, but I need to convert the terms into Chinese. So okay, let me find it because I don't know the Chinese name of a pivot table. If you can use the Mac, it should be under the insert. Yeah, insert. What else? Insert. Under insert.
that's right, that's true. And you just grab this one. Oh, I don't know.
What?
So,
Yeah, because you are not times 2, because you need to times it by F2. Okay, what is your problem?
no, I think I figured it out. Mine was just looks a little different because I think I have a different version.
Okay, one thing that you may have noticed is that if you separate, when you create a pivot table, if you put the data you want to separate it into the column labels, the table no quite bad, which is either expanded by the number of columns, which is not the way we expected. So in most of the time, we will put the variables that you want to separate the data from into the row labels, which make more sense to us. Okay. Okay, because by default, the number in the table is the sum, which is usually
Yeah. I was a little scared because mine also wasn't the data I was on in the numbers.
Try it again here, and you can calculate the number of also check it from changing the format. Okay, and where is the table? Okay, here, and you can choose. No, you should use the English version because the terms is really different. Yeah, and then change it to medium. I don't know whether. No, it's not all the function available. Forget about it. So we need to move on. Okay, I think most of you have calculated. Okay, let's create a pivot table look like this first. Okay, which is the row. The data has been separated by the color, and the color has been put into the row. Okay, and you want to create a graph on these numbers. Okay, and the easiest way to do it is to highlight these two columns of data, and then just press bar here, and then create a cluster bar, and you will get a bar chart. This is the simplest way to do it. Okay. Instead of a bar chart, you can create something like a line chart. And which chart is the best for representing your data? Read it here. And I think Dr. Leung has told you what is the difference between those scale of measurement and things like that. Okay. For example, if you need to have two kinds of data, you want to plot two kinds of data. For example, continuous versus continuous, you should use a scatter plot. And for example, a continuous versus categorical data, use a bar chart or a line chart. Things like that. And in this case, because the total duration is a continuous variable, so but the color of the rainstorm is categorical. So we should use either a bar chart or a line chart. So bar chart or a line chart. And there are many ways for you to customize those charts. So you can explore it yourself. For example, you can remove this one, remove the annotation, and also you can add a title and things like that. For example, you can click on the bar and then right-click it to change the data, format data series. And then you have a different way to change, to customize your chart. By the way, the chart is under the chart table. If you want to create a scatter plot, select two columns of data and then press the scatter. You will almost get that scatter plot. Okay. This is a scatter plot. For example, the x-axis meaning the horizontal axis, is the maximum duration for each category of data, and the y-axis is the mean, the average. This one shows the relationship between two continuous variables. For other kind of chart, you can try it yourself at home, not here. I want to make sure that you know how to create these two charts. But you can, because in an assignment, you need to know how to create these two charts. The difficulty for the problem set number 2 has increased a lot, which is totally not like the assignment number 1. Assignment number 1 is too easy, which is for you to warm up. So assignment number 2 is the real deal. Okay, I will do the task 2 with you. And if you know how to do task 2, you know how to do task 1 and task 3, which is very similar, particular task 1. And task 0 is it's just a warm up. I think you can do it by yourself. And the government provide the census data online. And for task 2, the table is B302. You can find it from here, like select the category B, the educational characteristics. And B302, which is this one. You can copy and paste, and copy this table and then paste it onto your Excel. But actually, there is a way to download the Excel file here. You can download it and then open it. Okay, there are 3 different tables here. The first one, T, meaning traditional Chinese. If you can read it, good for you. And S is the simplified Chinese. Again, if you can read it, good for you. And then the third one is English, because the medium of instruction in Hong Kong U is English, so I need to use the English version. Okay. Actually, there are 2 tables. There should be 2 tables here, right? If this is only have 1 table, then okay, 1 table. Okay, little explanation of what the number is. This is actually a pivot table they created by Excel. And they separated the data by column, which is the educational attainment, also by the age group. And the row is something we call a DCCA. Hong Kong, the geographic location in Hong Kong can be divided into two different levels. Actually, many different levels, but in the district council level, there are only two levels. The first level is called a district. For example, Hong Kong U, it should be in the central and western district. Okay. And then the second level, which is the final level, is the DCCA, which is the District Council Constituency Area. For example, the Hong Kong U in the DCCA of university. Okay. And the numbers here, for example, this number. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's say this number. Okay, 169. Meaning that in the Hong Kong U DCCA, there are 169 people in the age group of, in this age group, meaning 25 to 44, with the highest educational attainment of primary and below. Okay. And as you can see in the Hong Kong U DCCA, most of the people living in the Hong Kong U DCCA with the post-secondary education attainment. Okay, in this particular age group. And it is not usually the case. For example, this district in the eastern Eldridge Bay, most of the people living there in this age group only have the secondary educational attainment. And also this one, Gong. Also, most of the people have the secondary educational attainment only. Okay. So, the question is, calculate the average proportion of working age population, meaning 15 to 64, with post-secondary education for each district. Remember, district, not DCCA. And display the result as a table, also a graph that can clearly show the order, and then which district have the lowest proportion of working age population with post-secondary education. Okay. The first thing that I recommend you to do is not to analyze the data from this table, because this table looks good, but it is not good for data analysis. Okay. And So I recommend you to copy and paste this one to a new Excel table so that you can have a better analysis. For example, I want to select from A5 up to R416. Okay, then you can just select it from here using the name box. R416. It will select all the data. Remember, in most of the cases, if we select the data, we don't want to copy also the columns, because column in Excel is really important, so we don't want to mess it up. And then copy. And then create a new workbook. Starting from column 2, paste the data. In my case, I like to paste it special so that the data look like this. No more formatting. I hate those formatting. Okay. And then you can type back those columns names. For example, this one is the BCCA. And actually, we don't care about those under 15, but you still need to type it. Okay, for the column names, I just use some arbitrary names that at least I can understand. For example, under 15P, meaning under 15 primary, and under 15S, and under 15T, and then 15P, ST, and 25, and things like that. Use something that you can understand. And one thing you may notice is that after the A column, there is BC column, which is empty. which is actually a good thing. Because we need to speed it up the DCCA names into district and the name of the DCCA. So these two extras empty column is good, so that we can separate it into two columns. And you should know how to do it. For example, we select the A2 up to A4 and 3. And then data. And then text to column. Width. Damn. That column has been merged. Okay. I hate Excel formatting because they look good, but they are not good for data analysis. Insert columns. If we have problem doing this, actually I can grant you 1 week to do it and hand in it next week. Actually, you can have no assignment this week. Okay, let's continue next week. And so the assignment number 2 will be a two-week assignment. And you can try to do the task 1, task 0 by yourself first. And then next week we will come back and then do the task 2 again together. You can try to do task 1 and task 1, 2, 3 by yourself. If you find out the method to speed up the DCCA.